This is the world's largest factory, covering an area of 6.5 million square meters and producing an average of one car every 16 seconds. The behemoth in front of you is the headquarters of the Volkswagen Group in Wolfsburg, Germany, the world's largest factory. The factory is called Wolfsburg. The factory covers an area of 6.5 million square meters, equivalent to the land area of 14 Vatican cities. It also has more than 20 kilometers of automated assembly lines, 110 production workshops and 6,000 robots, and 72,000 workers. The Wolfsburg factory can produce about 840,000 cars a year. Not only that, he also has his own power plant and a huge railway network. This huge factory symbolizes the advancement of modern civilization. Since 1938, whether it is the earliest Beetle car or the current Golf, they were born from the production line of this factory. Volkswagen was originally designed to allow everyone to drive a car, so the earliest Volkswagen Beetle was very cheap, only equivalent to the price of a second-hand motorcycle at the time. Who would want a motorcycle if they could drive a car? So the Beetle car was very popular at the time. The Wolfsburg plant does more than just make cars. It also has its own hotel football team and even a symphony orchestra. Because the workshop is so large, the factory is equipped with 6,000 bicycles for employees to move around the workshop. Is this what is often said about riding a bicycle from the bedroom to the toilet? The first robot in the Wolfsburg plant was introduced in 1983, and now there are 6,000 robots, who are responsible for the installation of garages in all parts and can produce about 3,500 cars a day. The periphery of the Wolfsburg plant is covered with private railway networks, which has become the largest private railway station in Europe, and even the interior of the factory is covered with 70 kilometers. The long rails are used to transport cars to major distribution centers, and more than 1,600 tons of steel are transported into the factory by rail every day, which is a train entering the corresponding position. These trains are transporting steel coils to the warehouse, and workers operate cranes to unload the steel coils and put them on huge cutting machines. Then these steel coils will be turned into parts such as car doors, hoods, and trunks, and the production volume can reach 500,000 per day. All of this relies on advanced panels. 6 heavyweight industrial machines are connected together inside the stamping system. A mechanical arm with a suction cup controls the steel plate to move between the stamping machines. The stamping machine has a pressure of 8,000 tons, which can shape the steel plate in an instant, and then different accessories can be made by relying on different molds. Replacing the mold is also very simple. There are gates on both sides of the stamping machine. The replacement mold is dropped onto the track, and then the system will push the mold out. After the replacement, it is directly transported in, saving a lot of manual replacement time, allowing the stamping machine to operate 24 hours a day. Such a huge load operation will also cause the machine to malfunction. Once a malfunction occurs without knowing it, that will cause great losses. So in order to avoid this situation, they innovated a listener to judge the fault by listening to the sound. They use an acoustic camera plus 48 microphones, aiming at the stamping machine, and judge whether the machine has a problem by listening to the sound of the machine running, so that the fault can be found in advance and a response method can be formulated. These are all things that cannot be done manually, which is why the unemployment rate of workers has become high, because in the future it will be automated. People will make mistakes and will not. Fortunately, this factory still has more than 70,000 employees. How big is the world's largest factory? With an area of 6.5 million square meters, equivalent to 14 Vatican cities. This is the world's largest factory. The Wolfsburg factory, the headquarters of the Volkswagen Group in Wolfsburg, Germany, covers an area of 6.5 million square meters, equivalent to the land area of 3 Monaco. It has more than 20 kilometers of automated assembly lines, 110 production workshops and 6,000 robots, and 72,000 workers. The speed of producing cars is like producing sausages, which is jaw-dropping. One car can be produced in just 16 seconds. The factory alone provides employment opportunities for half of the residents in the region, earning €322.3 billion a year, and the Auto City theme venue alone has received more than 12 million visitors. The Volkswagen factory was established before World War II. In order to allow everyone to drive a car, Hitler found Ferdinand Porsche and co-founded Volkswagen. Hitler made very demanding requirements at the time, so that the price of the car could not exceed 1,000 marks. At that time, a second-hand motorcycle was only 1,000 marks. Later, relying on the advanced stamping workshop, the Beetle was successfully built, and the output has exceeded that of the Ford factory in the United States. Later, Hitler launched the Second World War, and the Volkswagen factory was forced to start manufacturing military vehicles. The factory was almost blown up in the war. However, after the war, it was taken over by the British for maintenance and received an order for 20,000 Beetles. This Beetle became the best-selling model in history in 1972. Even now, the Beetle is still loved by young ladies. In the Volkswagen assembly plant, there are 6,000 robots working non-stop, and cars consisting of about 10,000 parts need to be assembled by these robots. Every single part must be fixed in place. It is very difficult to achieve this highly automated assembly process, which requires very powerful microchips. Each of these robots costs at least $100,000, but there is another problem with the uninterrupted work of these robotic arms. That is, when assembling manually, the parts needed are usually stored next to the assembly line, but the robot uses this method to affect efficiency, so a system called just-in-time delivery is used. That is, the robot will receive the parts only when they need to be installed. The entire system is operated in the control room of the factory. The computer divides the central wiring into different stations to complete the work, and then a special distribution department will deliver the parts. There is also a monorail system on the roof that can transport 100 parts per hour, so that there will be a steady stream of parts delivered to the production line. After the body shell is assembled, it will be sent to the spray shop. As soon as you enter the shop, a robot will soak the body in static electricity. You will then have an automated gas furnace to heat the plate. The surface is quickly attached to it, and then the surface paint is sprayed on, and it will be dried and sent to the next stage. In addition to the 6,000 robots, there are 60,000 employees in the factory. Because the installation of the power system must rely on careful manual operation, various accessories are assembled and connected, and then within the specified time, the mechanical arm will lift and install the power unit from under the floor, so that the car has taken shape. It can be said that this factory mainly relies on these robots, which are also very advanced. Each of their joints has a stepper motor which makes them very flexible, comparable to humans, and they can work 24 hours a day, which also makes them expensive. Each robot costs at least $100,000. Such a large and highly automated factory, do you think it only produces Volkswagen cars? In fact, the Volkswagen Group is divided into two brand groups, Audi and Volkswagen. They manage their own brands and operate independently. These fully automated robots bring convenience and efficiency to humans, but also bring unemployment to people. Technological development is like a double-edged sword. This is the largest factory in the world, covering an area of 6.5 million square meters, which is larger than the entire Singapore. The factory is located at the Volkswagen Group headquarters in Wolfsburg, Germany. The Wolfsburg plant covers an area of 6.5 million square meters. Compared with it, Foxconn is not even on the stage. The factory has 110 production workshops and more than 6,000 robots, with more than 72,000 workers. The Wolfsburg plant can produce 2,300 cars a day. If it runs at full capacity, it can produce more than 1 million cars a year. If a war breaks out, it will become the world's largest military factory. The Wolfsburg plant alone provides employment opportunities for half of the residents in the area. The factory is equipped with 75 kilometers of dedicated roads and 59 kilometers of railways. This is the research workshop of the world's largest factory, which can give cars a greater competitive advantage and seek breakthroughs and innovations in continuous experiments. Here, the electrification, digitalization, and autonomous driving fields have a leading advantage. It can also be said that this research center is the key to the future. This laboratory can test the performance of the car under various conditions. It can generate winds up to 257 kilometers, simulate the feeling of driving in the rain, or in a hot environment, or in a blizzard at -30 degrees. It can be said that any extreme weather that may be encountered is taken into account. When the reporter is finished, it needs to be transported away immediately because there is the largest private railway station here. For trains will transport 1,800 cars from the factory to the world every day, but not all cars are shipped out like this. Some customers want to drive directly from the factory. In order to meet the needs of customers, They also built a delivery center. These two huge towers are parking lots. Each one is 20 stories high and can park 800 cars. They can handle up to 500 customers picking up cars every day. So they must be able to transport cars quickly. The entire system is controlled by computers. He can transport the car from the ground to any place in the tower within 40 seconds, becoming the fastest automatic parking system in the world. The Volkswagen Group was founded in 1937. Hitler proposed that every German should own a car, so Volkswagen initially produced the cheapest cars, each sold for only 1,000 marks, which was only the price of a second-hand motorcycle. However, the factory at that time could not produce such cheap cars, so Ferdinand Porsche personally went to the United States to meet with Henry Ford, an expert in mass production. Then Ferdinand Porsche introduced the most advanced production equipment and concepts from the United States at that time, and incorporated it into the factory design. At that time, the new factory was very large, and there was also a dedicated power station. If the investment of the entire factory is converted to more than $500 million now, its scale exceeds that of any automobile factory in the United States. It took only 4 years for the first 4 factories to start producing the cheap cars required by Hitler. This car is the well-known Beetle car. But the good times did not last long. With the outbreak of World War II, the factory was converted to manufacture military vehicles. Later, the factory suffered a large-scale bombing and was almost completely scrapped, but the factory did not disappear. His most important achievement, the production equipment, was not damaged much. After the war, the British took over the factory and brought in 20,000 orders. Although the Beetle car looks strange and has poor performance, it is unexpected that customers in other countries like this car very much. Later, this car became the best-selling model in history. It took only 10 years to produce 1 million Beetle cars, which was an unimaginable number at the time. Because of the hot sales of the Beetle, the factory continued to expand. Today, the Wolfsburg factory is the largest factory in the world and has its own private railway station. It has solved the employment problems of most of the surrounding residents. How can such a group whose original intention is to serve the grassroots people not succeed?